I'm excited for today and all these different voices we're going to hear. What about you, Pam?
Me too. Well, it's always fun when you get the inquiry side of things really show up and problem solve. And I'm okay with things being a little messy, so I like that.
Absolutely.
Welcome to kindergarten.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yes. Yeah. If you're fearful of people walking at you like this with mud and stickiness, kindergarten's not the place for you.
That's right.
But you don't wear your best clothes to class.
Jen and I have talked about maybe just getting scrubs and wearing scrubs to work every day, and then they can just paint whatever. Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I like it. Okay, so it is 2 o'clock. Let's get started. So thank you again for being here with us. It's Wednesday. Again, I feel like these Wednesdays just keep coming. They keep showing up on our doorstep. Okay, so let's start with our land acknowledgement.
We acknowledge that the land on which we are gathered is part of the traditional territory of the Chippewa, Odawa, Potawatomi, and Delaware nations. These indigenous nations, known as the Anishinaabe and the Napo, agreed through their ancestral languages to the mutual sharing of the land with obligations and responsibilities to the environment. Today, these responsibilities and obligations extend to all peoples.
Okay, so if you are just joining us, again, welcome. Thank you so much for being here. As always, I am Alicia. I am going to be here kind of in the sidelines today, which is great. And I am joined by lots of wonderful guests with us. Pam is here.
Hello, everyone. Have my mic muted there. Nice to see everybody again virtually, and hopefully we'll have lots of contributions today that you can take away and think how you can integrate that to your learning. And we have Nicole with us today. Maybe Nicole can say hello.
Hello, everyone. Nice to be here.
And you're joining us with bringing that Learning Commons perspective today. So thank you for that.
For sure. And we have our co-presenters or co-hosts today. If you guys want to quickly introduce yourself, say hello. Maybe start with Karen.
Hi, everyone. Karen Lockhart. I'm a registered EC at Lennon Road.
And it's me again, Jen Gardner from A Wright. I'm a registered EC. And I have my teaching partner extraordinaire, Heather, with me today.
Hi, everybody.
Great. So today we are, our plan today is to just quickly reiterate what we talked about last week. And we talked about the importance of having, and actually I say the importance, but the pleasure that we have of working together and having an educator and an ECE within a classroom, and kind of being able to bounce those ideas off one another and use one another for support, especially during this time, is so crucial. And we are excited also to have Nicole with us today, as she is another person that you can connect with, whether it be through her own role or also through Learning Commons teachers within your school. So we are going to do that. We're then going to continue with our discussion about the 4 frames. And today we're going to focus on the problem solving and innovation frame, in which we're going to talk about some STEM activities and some building challenges, which are really fun and exciting for your kids. And then again, we'll talk about feedback for upcoming meetings. And then at the end of the session today, we are going to have a chance to kind of engage in some breakout rooms. If you are willing and wanting to join and collaborate with some of the educators who are with us today. And that will conclude our session today. Okay, so again, as I said, the 4 frames today, we are going to really focus in on that problem solving and innovating as a way to engage students, and to also pull out the mathematical and the literacy-based context as well. So I don't know if anyone wants to kind of jump in about that collaboration piece again, and what is working for you within your classroom for the ECE and the teacher role, or if you're pulling in any other colleagues that are helping out. Does anyone have anything to share around that?
I can share, which I'll say this later in my, so I don't know if I should share right now, but maybe I'll just start it off to get some people going. Actually our prep teacher for our class, and she's also Learning Commons and our resource teacher, so it's nice to have her combined into one role for us. She's been doing a lot of work regarding STEM, so I've reached out to her and kind of copied or had permission to use her ideas.
That's great, and I've actually heard quite a few teachers who are using. The prep teachers are just as excited to, you know, see the kids and to engage with the students, and the kids love to see them as well. So I think it's really great that those young students are seeing all of the faces that support them on a regular basis, especially during this difficult time. So that's really great. Anyone else want to share anything before we pass it over to talk about the Learning Commons perspective?
Heather and I share a Google Doc, so we just insert all the different activities we're hoping to accomplish throughout the next couple weeks, and we just go from there. And we kind of love each other a lot. We talk a lot on the phone. We pretty much every day we text, and so there's a lot of communication still happening.
Yeah, definitely. And I'll add in too that we're very lucky that we have an EA who we work with as well, and she's been doing awesome at posting some activities for some specific kids in the class. We have a student with low vision, so she's been helping with some activities for her, and yeah, so that's been nice to have that third person to kind of fill in the gaps there for some of those kiddos that we have.
I'm just realizing too, we have Steph Wood in our audience today, who is one of our ELL teachers too. So I'm just thinking, oh yeah, that's probably another partner that kindergarten educators can access as well. Because with all our students that are learning the English language in their kindergarten program, like, you know, to use it to express themselves and to problem solve with, we also need the help when students, it's not their first language.
And we have many, many students coming into FDK who are English language learners. So yeah, no, I'm here to listen and learn and be of any assistance that I can.
Thanks, Steph. What are the languages of most of our new students? Just out of curiosity.
The most common languages are Arabic, Gujarati, Urdu, Chinese, and then in the South, Low German.
Okay. Interesting. Thanks for joining us today.
Thanks.
Okay, so I think what we will do is I'm going to stop sharing. If Nicole, if you're ready to kind of share some of your wonderful knowledge with us, is that okay?
Yep, that's great. I'm just have my laptop up just in case my iPad doesn't go today. So I usually share on my laptop when I share. So today I'm trying it out with my iPad, and I tested it with Alicia, so we should be good to go, but we'll see.
It'll be great.
Coming from the Learning Commons perspective, these activities, the STEM challenges or STEAM challenges, so science, technology, engineering, and math, or if you throw A in there, would be your arts integrated into that as well. These are things you can do in your regular classroom, not just from the Learning Commons perspective. Or can't rate and reach out to your Learning Commons teacher. It can be very powerful, and more minds are better than one. I know this week I reached out to the ECE at our school, and they are doing a lot of their activities surrounding Mother's Day. So she was reading a book for Mother's Day, so I'm doing an engineering activity about an elephant's trunk with them to connect to that as well. So the activity that I created for today that you'll see, I always try to connect it to, Alicia, you're frozen. Can you see me okay? Okay. I just want to make sure I wasn't frozen.
Yeah, I can. Sorry.
Okay,
Yep.
good. The activities that I generally try to create for my school, I hate seeing myself on video, but I know that it's for the kids and that I can make a connection to them and that I can model and show them what it is that we are doing. And then sometimes I springboard it off a book, or sometimes I springboard it off of what's happening currently in their lives. So over the past few weeks, I know we started the first week, I did a fort challenge for them. And then we had Earth Day. So I did an Earth Day activity, and it's been really windy. We did a wind turbine. And then we also had Mother's Day. So we did a Mother's Day challenge. And most of the challenges I think of, what do we have in our homes to actually, for the kids to access for? So a lot of that revolves around the recycling bin or just materials that they can gather around the house. So I really had to think of like, how can I switch this from the Learning Commons where I have all this access to material, and think of how can I really make it down to the level at home and show them how they can authentically learn at home too. So I'm going to screen share a post that I put into Seesaw. Try this.
And when you say shared,
shared in Seesaw,
Yes.
is it something that like all of us can get access to? Is that what you mean?
Okay, well, I'll speak to that in a second because
Awesome.
it'll make more sense in a minute. Do you see my screen?
Not yet. You started it and then it came back off. So try her again.
So I might have to do that again. Okay, start broadcast. Okay, were we good there?
Yes.
yes.
It is 5 minutes long. We'll try to talk through it a little bit because I really just don't want everybody just seeing me on there, but it is for the kids. So that's why I'm showing you this. Is the volume okay?
Before we get started, all of the materials that you will need, and you need to get the space that you're going to work at all set up and ready. You will need to find 10 small animals or friends that you like to play with. You will need aluminum foil, and you will need a bucket of water or an adult to help you put water in the sink or the bathtub. Hello boys and girls, I hope you enjoyed reading the book called The Circus Ship. Now that we've read the book, I have a challenge for you. What you're going to do today is you are going to design a boat. And I hope you have all of your materials ready from what I just told you you needed. So just to make sure you have it all, you need aluminum foil, you need a bucket of water, and if you don't have a bucket of water, it's okay to fill up your sink or your tub. Ask an adult to help you do that. You should have all of your friends gathered up. And what I did is I made a little 10 frame so that I know that I have all of my 10 animals, and we'll put them in to make sure. 1, 2, and if you don't have animal friends, that's okay. You can choose any of your small friends. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So I have my 10 friends here. So let's talk about what we know about boats first of all. So if you have an adult with you, I want you to pause this in a minute and I want you to tell them what you know about boats. I have 2 different boats here. Okay, so pause this video and I want you to tell your adult who you're with or your older family member what you know about boats. So just giving them a little prompt there that they can speak to their family member to pause it. You've had a second to tell what you know about boats. When we look at them, we know that boats have sides on them, and we know that they have a place to hold people on the inside. So if we take our piece of aluminum foil and put it in water, I want you to try putting some of your friends on there and see what happens. How can this hold people? Let's try experimenting with some of your friends. 1, 2, 3, So what's happening? Can you zoom in on our foil? What's happening? Of a bucket of water, and tell your friend, your mom or your dad or your brother or your sister, why you think that's happening. So Oliver, do you want to tell our friends what you did?
I did. I pulled it inside to so that all if you balance it out, then it should stay in the water. So.
And it floats. How many friends can it hold?
So if I put one there, then I'll need to balance it out on the other side.
Or how many friends do we have left? One full row of 5 empty, so that means we have 5 left.
6.
And it's starting to so your boat. Do you think you can design it a little bit different to hold more friends?
Yes.
We'll try. Now it's your turn to use your foil to bend it and shape it in different ways to make it strong enough to hold as many friends as you can. I'd love to see a photo or a video of how many friends your boat held. Remember to count your friends as you're putting them on your boat. Have fun!
Okay, sorry, that was a little bit long, but I tried to fast forward through a few of those points. I just like to, so I have a book that I read to them that I'll be using this next week. So a book that I would be reading to them first so that they can connect with the topic. And then they're using that and springboarding off that literature to then put it into a STEM challenge where they use their problem solving, and they have to use some innovation because I'm not just telling them exactly how to fold their foil and make a boat. They can use their own problem solving and creativity to actually mold the boat themselves. Trying to give them some pause points to maybe talk to their parents about. And then integrating math into that as well. So having them actually count their friends as they're putting them onto the boat. Is there any questions about anything or?
I think a couple, oh, sorry, Pam, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just saying in the chat group, Brandy was sharing that, you know, using the EA and the ECE and the teacher are all coded and sharing ideas in a Google Doc, but also in Facebook group chats. So I'm sure there's going to be some sharing going on about tasks like this. And just another teacher friend was sharing about how nice her own children were responding to seeing their teacher. So thank you for taking the risk to being in the video and hearing your voice. On students, I think that will really engage students to take part in the activity. Alicia, you had something?
Yeah, a couple things that I noticed about that watching back. So I think it's really important for us to keep in mind that we can try to replicate those opportunities, although it's not going to be nearly as close to what it would be in a regular classroom, but just giving the teachers and the kids an opportunity to, number one, to see you, number two, to give prompts for them to think about, which the parents are going to appreciate as well. I love the idea in that video of giving that pause point and having them discuss. I think as a parent, I would appreciate kind of knowing where to stop and kind of to talk about. So I think that was really nice. And one other thing that you said that stuck to me was giving them a context. We know that the littles oftentimes need that context. They need to be familiar with something. They need to be able to relate it to something. So literature is a great way to do that. So I think all of those ideas are really key when we're sharing these opportunities and challenges with our kids.
And Pam, you asked if I could put that in, like if that was something everybody else could use. You know, they aren't going to use my view, but it was just to demonstrate that you, like teachers themselves, could put themselves in a video and model and show for their children, their students, some things that they could do, and that they can connect with their kids as well at the same time.
Yes. So you sharing with us really is like our provocation to create our own video to provoke inquiry and thought and play with our students, really. So, and just having the teacher and ECE and EA connection there, I think is really going to help our students feel connected to the learning too.
Oh, the book was the circus.
Can you tell us what the book name was again, please?
By Chris Van Dusen. Hold on one second. If you girls talk, I can grab.
Yeah. And we'll put that in the chat for you because it's always nice to have some great books. People are echoing. They like, students like to see us. The other thing Nicole said too was about having material that students have easy access to. I don't know if you're recycling, but mine's pretty full. Lots of home cooking happening.
So that's the book, The Circus Ship.
The Circus Ship. Okay, thank you.
So that opportunity to provide students with the teacher kind of still guiding a lesson is maybe something to keep in mind moving forward if you are trying to send out some challenges or some building activities, because I think that can be really powerful for the students instead of just, you know, pushing out an assignment or a task and then having them respond. This is a nice kind of interactive piece, which is nice.
And when I send those STEM challenges as well for students to do, I always make sure that I do them myself. And then I show the kids, not to feed them the idea of this is exactly what you can do, but just to show them different materials that they can use and an example of something, but to see that I've done it too, and that I've tested and that I've entered into the alongside them as well.
Good. Okay, thank you, Nicole. We're going to keep moving along because we have some more friends who are going to share. So I'm going to go and try to share my screen here. Just bear with me for a minute. Okay. So we're going to move along to my dear friend, Jen. Jen, you want to give a little background on this?
Yep. So on Fridays, we call them Fun Fridays, and we try to give an activity that is just promotes togetherness and generally hits all 4 frames. So we get the biggest bang for our buck. So last Friday, I didn't read the story, Not a Box. I got a little video of the book being read to them. It was a little animation, so I thought that was kind of fun. And I used the Google Safe link and sent it to them first in the first post. So I'm not sure what the video is going to show. We did clip it a bit, so it wasn't so long. So maybe you could play the video, and then I'll talk about what maybe's not there.
Perfect.
Today's activity is inspired by the book, Not a Box. If you have not already read the story, you can read it by clicking the link in the first post. After you have read the story, you will need to come up with a plan. We were inspired to build a boat. Make sure to write the words, it's not a box, it's a, and fill in the blank. According to our plan, we would need a box, a marker, a flag, some bubble wrap for comfort, some tape, a pair of scissors, and a roll from wrapping paper. Now comes the fun part. We get to work together and make our boat. Let's try it out. It's definitely a boat built for one, but we can share and take turns. Make sure to draw up your plan and write the words, it's not a box, it's a, and fill in what you plan to make. Have someone take your picture or make a video of your plan and your finished project, because I would love to make a slideshow of all of your creations. Can't wait to see them, and as always, have fun.
All right, well, that showed pretty much everything. What you missed was my 2 dogs trying to help me. So they were not very helpful. So I did the literacy piece and the math piece where they needed to collect things. They could count how many different things, like Owen put 6 portholes on the boat. It's just, I use my son a lot, my other one as well, just to promote that togetherness and to show families that they need to work together and collaborate to do some of these activities. And a lot of them may not get that. So if they see me playing with my teenage sons, maybe they'll be able to play with their children in return. So more of a modeling for them as well.
And I
Aren't
think
we all
too,
just 4-year-olds at heart, though?
Well, I clearly have no shame. I was sitting in a box.
I think too, it's nice to just to pull out that idea of we're giving them a problem, a challenge. They're using all of those problem-solving skills. They're working together, and inside of those opportunities to be cooperative, to take turns, you know, to overcome obstacles, we are still helping them to develop those literacy and those mathematical skills. So all of the frames are also embedded, which, as you said, Jen, it's providing those activities that are like the more bang for your buck.
Yep, and that's just a slide of some of the feedback I got. What was that, a chicken house and a suitcase? So, and then we have the little robot lady on the next.
So cute.
She looks like
I'll
she was
invite
having
people in the chat just to share some book titles that they have. So we've got The Circus Ship book so far, Not a Box, and I think next up we're going to have a familiar title. It's already mentioned in the chat, so that's great.
Yeah. Is it this one, Pam?
It is this one.
Awesome. Heather, you're up.
All right. Okay. So yeah, I had found this activity. We actually haven't done it yet with our class, but it's something I'd like to do in the next little bit because it is the perfect time of year. So maybe some people are familiar with A Pinch of Kinder, that website. And her name is, I believe it's pronounced Yukari, but I could be wrong. But she's an Ontario FDK educator, and she has an amazing website. She's got a Facebook page. And she has been so wonderful to share a lot of her activities during this time that we're at home. So I take full advantage of that because she's got awesome stuff. And so she had posted a STEM activity. And as Nicole said, you could also call it a STEAM activity, adding that A in there for the arts piece of it. But so she started off with having the best nest. And I think if you move on to the next slide there, Alicia, it'll show her post and what that looked like. So that's her post where it says week 4 STEM. And then she has a link, I believe she has a safe YouTube link to the best nest, and have the kids read that. And then the task is to design a bird's nest, and just talking about what would make a good nest for a bird. And she talks about gathering materials for your nest, and also using some things out of the recycling bin wherever you can find them, because we do know that we have some kids that some can get outside and into a big yard or into their backyard and do that. Others can't. They're maybe in an apartment building or just don't have that opportunity. So they can use things that they find around the house in the recycle bin, and then have them make a nest that can hold a hard-boiled egg or a plastic egg filled with coins for weight. And then doing the extension, so draw your nest, label them, label your materials that you used, and label your drawing. So just an awesome STEM activity there. And she's got lots of great ideas. This is the type of activity, and that's why I picked it, because type of thing that Jen and I try to do, just to, like we said, get the biggest bang for our buck when we're posting activities, and when we are in class, same idea. So yeah, I highly recommend you check her stuff out if you haven't had a chance to do that yet or hadn't heard of her.
I did a little bit of browsing through the site. She does have a lot of really great stuff on there. And one nice connection to this at this time of the year, I know looking out in my own yard, I have some birds that are trying to build their nests around my home in areas that are ideal or not ideal. So just again, having that context, and maybe the kids are seeing birds, you know, flying with things in their mouths. So that's a nice conversation starter as well. Yeah. And I like, Heather, how you said to pull some items out of recycling. If they can't get outside, because we know that that's a challenge for some students, that they can use things around home. I had added some pictures of some, you know, cotton balls or string or yarn, or I even thought, you know, Easter has just passed, so maybe there's kids who have that Easter grass that they use. It's just making things accessible and whatever they have around their home.
Absolutely. We actually have a student who her mom and dad just bought chickens, like chicks, some for to grow or to have them to eat later on when they're old enough, and then some for laying eggs. But she was so excited to show us the picture of those chicks. And then she had also gone in the backyard and they had found nests in their backyard. So robin's eggs, she showed us, she took a picture of that and sent it. And then a few days later sent us a picture because they had hatched. So she sent a picture of those baby birds, their eyes not even open yet. Like, so just, she's doing some really great stuff at home with her kids and getting them involved in that kind of stuff. And so you have that side of the coin, and then you have the others that might not get outside, but they can still participate and do these kind of things at home using the recycled stuff. And so lots of opportunities there for everybody.
Yeah, Heather, I'm going to call on one of my friends in the audience. Carrie, are you out there?
I'm here. Yes.
Because hi, how are you? One of the things that brings Carrie a lot of joy in her class is bringing creatures into her class. So can you just talk to us about what creatures you've been watching?
So a couple of years ago, we stumbled upon the Cornell University website. They have a bird watching. So the one that we are most interested in normally is the owls. So they have a barred owl's nest in Indiana, and around the end of March, beginning of April, you can see the mom in there and the eggs. And we've been checking in every day, so I will check and then I'll post links or I'll take screenshots and give them updates. So we saw the eggs hatch, and then the owlets were born, and so I had them drawing some pictures of the owlets. We tracked the different changes, getting bigger, the colors of their feathers changing. So now the owlets, the nest is crowded, they're huge. And the next thing we're waiting for is to watch them to branch, which is they come out of their nest and they get on the branch. So the website is great because not only does it, you can watch it live, which I find enjoyable. You can sit and listen to all the outside wood sounds. You can watch it live, but they also have little snippets that the people the researchers that work there will post highlights, so I can send those links as well. So if you Google search Cornell University birds, you'll probably find the link for it. So we've been following that, even though we can't do it in the classroom this time. I've been sharing it through Seesaw and having activities that go with it.
Awesome. If you can type that in the chat, that would be great. The exact website later when you get a minute. And I know you were proud. You proudly hatched some moths this week.
Butterflies.
Butterflies. Oh, yeah.
They're butterflies. Yeah. So normally everybody here probably does butterflies in the spring, and we were all super sad not to have butterflies in our room. But last fall, I had a student bring me in a couple of chrysalises, and I said, I think it's too late to release them. And she said, no, apparently we did some research, and you put them in your put them in a cool, dark place for the winter. When you bring them out in the spring, they'll emerge. So I was doubtful. I threw them in my garage and promptly forgot about them. And a couple of weeks ago, I thought, I should probably pull those out now. So I put them in my butterfly net, and within a couple of days, the butterflies emerged. So I got to share some pictures with the kids of how the their wings are still wet when they come out, and we were lucky enough to have both a male and a female. So one of the activities I was able to post is which is the male, which is the female, do some research and find out how you can tell the difference. So that was super exciting. I wish I could go get some tadpoles, but I'm really sure my husband will draw the line right now. Right? My husband would say that about tadpoles. I think that he would draw the line. They're kind of smelly. So
Yeah. Well, there's some people in the chat that are saying they're going to get tadpoles and a frog now. So it is the kindergarten thing to do.
I don't think that's for me this year.
Carissa has shared that there's live footage of eagles' nests in Michigan near our area too, which is really great. So kids probably
they
see
have
that.
all sorts of birds on there. We like the owls just because it happens really quickly. I mean, within the next couple of weeks, they're going to be gone. One day I looked to see, oh, I wonder what they're doing. They were gone. It's fun to see. So I'll look up that website right now.
Shared this book earlier, and Sari is sharing that her children did it and they had so much fun, and they had a tea party and wrote and the whole bit. So it's great for sparking that information. And going back to our book suggestion, if you're not familiar with the Rosie Revere books, they are amazing for STEM activities, positivities, you can do it kind of books. Lots of creativity there. And Day Crayons Quit, Leprechaun Trap, I don't know that one. And yeah, going back to fairy tales might be a nice one too. So thank you for sharing in the chat there. Awesome. Thanks, Carrie, for letting us in on the birds.
Yeah, and one kind of idea that I see emerging in the conversation, thank you, Carrie, so much for sharing. And also, Heather, when you mentioned, it's going back to that whole idea of piquing the students' interest and the concepts that are exciting to them and the ideas. Heather, speaking of her and Jen's student who had the chickens, that's of interest to them, and just kind of using what your students are engaged in to get them being curious learners and asking questions and wondering about things. And that can really still happen at home. It's just a bit of a shift what that looks like. So keep doing what you're doing because it's amazing and the kids appreciate it. And we are really maintaining what the FDK program is all about, which is amazing.
Exactly. Mentioning the Bug Girl, which is one of our students from our district, is an author, and she created that book. So that's another book to look at. And I do have to, I know this is true. Carrie says she shared the allaboutbirds.org. And I know this is true. She is very excited about the owls and the butterflies and the tadpoles. I've seen her get a little misty-eyed when she has to let them go. Oh, and we need to know who sank the boat. Oh, that's actually the name of a book, but I wondered how many creatures got into the boat. But we have another STEM challenge coming up. Great.
Yeah, so I'm going to let Karen just give a bit of background on this awesome challenge that we're going to see. If you're out there, Karen.
I'm here. Before we do that, just to add to the whole birds thing, I don't know if anyone has access to Mystery Dog, but he has there's something out there about I believe birds and eggs. So if that's another thing to check out. Really good stuff. So this is one of the STEM challenges that we did with our class. Just a fun Friday activity. It's really simple, and this is actually one that I got from our prep teacher, and she's Learning Commons. So I kind of pulled ideas from someone else, which is really helpful. So I don't know if you want to play the video there, Alicia.
It's Fun Friday and we have a STEM challenge for you to try. What can you make with straight lines? We want you to use items you have at home. You could use sticks you find outside, or even some toothpicks, or try using some straws. Use what you Now make a plan of what you want to make. Draw a picture and list all the materials. I decided that I'm going to use some straws and tape and make a cube. If you need help, ask someone in your house. Ask your brother, your sister, your mom and dad, grandma and grandpa. Use some teamwork. When you are all done, post a picture or a video and don't forget to tell us what you have made. Most importantly, we want you to have lots of fun with this activity.
So as you can tell, it was just really simple. Straight lines, I just showed them examples of what you could use, but there's really anything that you could use. We had lots of kids make us different things. These two cuties right here, the Nola right there, she made a crown with some sticks and toothpicks and tape. And then this little guy here made a box with some straws, markers, paintbrushes, and tape. So it was really, we just really wanted to keep it simple and try and get them to find stuff around their house that they could use. And then actually, if we go to the next side, the same little boy actually built something else and kind of took it to the next level. So this is kind of fun.
Wyatt, what did you make with your straws and your sticks?
Hopscotch.
And how high does it go? To what number?
Up to 7.
Okay, let's show them.
So really, you can get anything from this, and as you can see, it can reach all different of our all 4 frames. And if you wanted to, you could really extend it into something else. So we thought it was just something a little fun, and the kids seemed to really enjoy it.
For sure. And I like too, Karen, that all of those items, like, because it is so wide open with what can you make with straight lines, they can be creative. They can use anything. And again, it goes back to that equity piece of inside, outside. They can use, you know, pieces of spaghetti or toothpicks or, you know, whatever's kind of lying around, or they could go outside and they could add another element to it. So those are really great ideas, and make sure that you thank those parents for letting you share those cute faces we all love to see. Kiddos.
Yeah, this family awesome. It's really awesome, and we definitely thank them a lot. Yeah, it just shows that there's so many different things that they can do with this. We had a little girl make a necklace, which was fun, something that she was into. But yeah, it's just with our group, I have found, I don't know with everyone else, but with our group, keeping it really simple for them and really accessible is what we have noticed that works, and so we've just kind of been focusing on. Speaking about books, I saw one, the 3 Billy Goat Scruff, that I think we're going to try next week, where you can either make a bridge or a raft for them, whatever one they want to do. So that's just another idea.
Yeah, Nicole, I know you were chatting about that book earlier. Did you have anything to add about what you were thinking? Because you were going to go in that same direction too, I believe.
Yeah, so we had done this in the Learning Commons this year, and we just had the kids work together to make the scene of the story. So read the story out loud, so they had that literature link, and then we made the scene together, and then they had to use any material that they wanted to create a bridge over the water, and they had to actually include a weight. So like, will your bridge hold? And then you could have maybe 5 spoons, something that they have in their house that you know for sure most families would have, that you could add that weight element to it as well, just to help them problem solve.
Great.
You can count, right? Count how many spoons it can hold, or add that math element to it too.
For sure. Anything there in the chat, Pam, that you wanted to mention before we continued moving on?
I think we've covered a lot of it. Thank you so much for contributing book titles. And just to reiterate what Nicole was sharing, she's saying like she uses like what she decides the STEAM activities or challenges based on what's going on, like so Easter, or it's windy, so wind turbines, Mother's Day piece that's going through there, so always great. And like looking at the kindergarten curriculum too, in that problem solving and innovation piece, having students to problem solve through to retell the story is a really important skill for them to start to develop. So if we think about these stories we're sharing, even having kids to retell the story back for us. I know there's an activity already set up in there in Seesaw for Pete the Cat, shoes, the shoe book. So there's a ready-made Seesaw activity that prompts kids to do a retell of that story. So if you're sharing that story, it's something that maybe you could share with your kids.
Also, Pam, there's a STEM activity you can do with the Pete the Cat shoe one too, where they actually have to think about how they could change a shoe to make it better.
Okay.
So they could have a component to that. They could either draw it out, or they could make it like a box out of using recycled materials and create a new shoe. And also in that, back to the Three Billy Goats Gruff and the retail portion, we had, when they built their bridge and they had their scene and their bridge over their scene, they had to retell the story of the Three Billy Goats Gruff as well. So they could even send you back a video retelling that story, or just how to tell the story to an adult or sibling as well.
Bringing in that belonging and contributing piece, right? Like, you know, I love how all the prompts you've shared today have been like, get somebody to be with you and help you and share that experience with you to build that connectedness. So Alicia, what's up next?
That's really important.
So thank you again to everyone who is willing to share today. And as usual, we are looking for thoughts and ideas moving forward. What would you guys like to hear? You know, what kind of content would you like to talk about? If you have any awesome ideas or any activities that you would be willing to hop on and be a guest teacher, we would love that. So again, here is the QR code or a bit.ly for a Google form. You can fill in some information, or also please do not hesitate to email us, myself, Pam, anyone really who is on our panel. We will all love to answer any emails with some ideas.
Yeah, we have chat groups too.
Yeah. So with that being said, what we were hoping to do is continue this sense of sharing. It was really, it's really stood out to us how much we are growing as a board, and how this collaboration and this working together is really setting us apart. And I think that we need to continue that. So what our hope is that we can do a little bit of reflection on last week with the video, and then get into, if you are willing and wanting to participate in a breakout room and have a conversation with a smaller group that takes us out of this larger group, then you are more than welcome to be a part of that. Did you want to add anything before we show the video?
I wonder if you could repeat that, Alicia. You broke up a little bit during that. So we're going to reflect on last week and
yes. So we're just going to reflect a little bit on last week and when we talked about our loose parts, and then we are hoping to give you an opportunity to get into some smaller breakout rooms in case you wanted to share either some of your experience or maybe toss around some ideas. So again, based on your comfort, if you wanted to join in those breakout rooms, then you are more than welcome, and we'll come back and share. And if not, we appreciate you being here for the content piece today. Okay.
Okay.
In LKDSB, sharing is caring.
Last week, during the kindergarten office hours, lots of ideas were exchanged. One idea, loose parts, was reflected upon and how we might use it as we learn from home. Loose parts are exactly what they sound like, a collection of loose materials or objects for kids to play with, however they see fit. Students can explore, build, sort, play pretend, and create masterpieces. Some students may find gathering loose parts from nature to be an exciting part of their day. By exploring the properties of objects and deciding what they will be and how they will function, kids will work on a wide variety of skills essential for their development. These parts inspire creativity and imagination, while students work on their fine motor skills. Loose parts help develop visual spatial skills, problem-solving skills, and engage kids in dramatic and symbolic play. Numeracy behaviors such as counting and sorting can be explored over and over again. As students develop their literacy skills, loose parts might be used to build letter recognition and vocabulary. Where can I find ideas?
There are lots of pre-made activities to assign to your class. And the educators of LKDSB have been creating their own activities to share with one another.
Thank you to the kindergarten educators who shared ideas as we all work to support learning through relationships and through play and inquiry.
Join us for our office hours every Wednesday at 2 o'clock. Whether you participate in the conversation or just sit back and listen to the sharing of ideas, remember, you are not in this alone. Okay, so last week we talked about loose parts and how important they are. Pam, I don't know if you wanted to add anything to that.
Yeah, no, I just think we're looking as we move into the breakout room, just to continue that idea sharing and creating new places for us to learn together. And we start maybe with loose parts, but if you have questions about STEM activities, we encourage you to bring that up in the conversation as well.
Okay, so again, our dear friend incognito Rod is here behind the scenes, so he's going to hopefully shoo us out into breakout rooms of 3 or 4 people. And again, this is really just a chance to kind of share small group and just get comfortable with being uncomfortable with something new.
Exactly.
So we've got I have some rooms created. I'm just going to shuffle people because a few people have said, hey, I've had enough. Thank you. It's been great.
Yeah.
And so we've got groups that, as people say goodbye, I'll just shuffle people into other more popular rooms.
Mm-hmm.
So the idea here is that you get a chance to talk, hopefully face-to-face and voice-to-voice with colleagues. You probably take a second to get to know the people in your room, do sort of brief introductions. And then after that, did you say 7 minutes or so, Alicia?
Yeah, we could probably, is that what you think, Pam?
Yeah,
What do you
it's 10 to 3 now, so maybe we're down to 5 just to honor people's time. Yeah.
5 or 6 minutes. So take a minute to introduce yourself. Again, if you're not familiar with the tools for your microphone, it's in the lower left-hand corner of your screen, as is your camera icon. So you can turn that on. And in the upper right-hand corner of your screen, if you're not already in the Brady Bunch view, you can hit the grid view and sort of see everybody at one time. So right now, it looks like the rooms are pretty much shuffled. I'm just going to move a couple more people here. And then we'll see you all back here in about 5 minutes, 6 minutes, something like that.
Rod, I have 2 devices, so.
Is one of them called iPad?
It must, yeah, if there's only one Nicole Hooper, then yeah, that's my iPad.
Okay.
No,
so
there's 2 Nicole Hoopers. No,
there's 2 Nicole Hoopers. Well, you know what? Just go to one of the meetings. I'll put you in a group of 4 so that other people will be able to carry on the conversation if you're not there. I think that
I can be in 2 meetings
you
at
can
once.
be in 2 meetings at one time. Plug a headset in, and just bear with me. Just the last second shuffle here. It's funny, like there's everything looked really good a couple minutes ago. It was rock solid, beautiful. Now we're just shuffling. So again, your screen might look like you're in no man's land for a few seconds, but sure enough, in a minute you'll appear with your colleagues and you can have a chat. And I'll draw you back here when time's up. Okay. See you in a bit. So everyone's rejoining us. I see a whole bunch of people.
Awesome.
I'm hitting that big giant grid view. So everyone sort of was pulled back from their engaging conversations into this one big room.
Thanks for the chat.
You're welcome. I'm sorry about them. There was one other person out there. I'm not sure who it was that I sort of shuffled when I saw you were alone in your room when we broke out. So you might have appeared.
Kelly, you're alone. I thought by myself.
Poor Kelly.
No friends.
Yeah,
Just kidding.
We had someone who brought it to the fold. Good. Yeah. Thank you so much for coming today, everyone. Appreciate your time and take care of your.
Take care, everyone. Thank you so much for all the conversation. And we will.
Bye, everybody. Bye, Val. Didn't get to say goodbye to you.
Bye. Bye, everybody.
Bye, guys.